Okay, so let's get started. Welcome everybody to our 2021 Spring YOP Showcase. My name is Jennifer Tobin. I am the Assistant Director of Education at the Richmond Symphony and also the Youth Orchestra Manager. And on a personal note, many of you know that I started this position in the middle of the year in the pandemic from New Jersey, and I am happy to report that I am currently in Richmond. It has been such a wonderful couple of days getting to explore your community. I've been to a lot of wonderful restaurants. I've been to some of the best nature trails along the James, and I'm just so excited to be here on this very hot day and to experience your community and to be part of it. And I'm just so grateful to all of you for welcoming me, for sending me your suggestions of your favorite places around the city, and for just being part of your amazing music community. So I'm really, really excited to be here. So without further ado, I'd like to start our showcase. We have all of our ensembles here today, so you will get to hear the final projects of all of the youth orchestras, which is really exciting. And I'm going to just go ahead and share my screen. So here we are in our 2021 showcase, and we are going to start with Sinfonietta. So I'd like to invite our wonderful Sinfonietta conductor, Mrs. Jones, to say a couple of words about the pieces that Sinfonietta played and the experience. So Mrs. Jones, you may take it away.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for that, Ms. Tobin. It's been a pleasure getting to know all of the very kind, creative, dedicated, and insightful musicians of Sinfonietta this spring semester. Together, we work towards learning, rehearsing, and then finally recording 2 pieces. And we're very excited to share our work with you tonight. But first, I'd like to talk a little bit about our rehearsals and our process. In the beginning, we set out to establish our agenda, and I sought to know the students a bit more. Some of them knew each other, but I was the new kid in class, and I wanted to connect with them so that we could communicate and share the joy of music, even if we couldn't be in the same space together. We set up our rehearsal norms, and we got to work. I quickly learned the strengths of the students from their participation in rehearsals and through some video feedback that I was able to share with them on a pretty regular basis. And through that process, we were able to celebrate successes, and I could guide them and each other towards improvement. Before we show our pieces, I want to just shout out a few thank yous to our staff, Jen, Jonathan, Walter, and all of the fellow YOP conductors. Thank you for your guidance and support, not only to me, but to all of our students. And to our parents, if you're tuning in with us, we're thankful for your support in sending and helping with the recordings, consoling on the challenges of said recordings, and probably most importantly, encouraging lots of practicing and cheering on our students tonight. Thank you to our Rizzo bassist, Isabella and Kate. We're grateful for your recordings mixed in with our Sinfonietta musicians, and you built a wonderful foundation for our sound. Thank you. And to the students, it was my honor to work with you this semester. You're amazing human beings, and I can't wait for the world to have your continued influence as musicians and as wonderful citizens of our world. Our 2 pieces tonight provide 2 sets of cultural exploration. The first piece, Alpine Valley, it's a newer composition written by American fiddler, Berkeley graduate, and extreme skier, Andy Briner. Not only is it a fun piece, it showcases all of our instruments pretty nicely. And it had us discussing fiddle styles from various cultures and discussing how the composer, his personal experience impacted the piece's inspiration. In the video, we have our own violinist, Thomas Doe, introducing the piece. Please enjoy.
Okay, here we go. Alpine Valley.
Hello, my name is Thomas Doe, and I am a student in the Symphonietta class. Alpine Valley is a very catchy piece and is also very fun to play. It is written in the style of an Irish polka by Andy Reiner. It doesn't surprise me that this piece was inspired by skiing in national parks because when I hear her play it, I imagine myself at the top of a beautiful mountain. What I like about this piece is that every part contributes to its greatness. Enjoy!
Virtual round of applause for Symphony, and I encourage you to congratulate them in the chat as well. We'll go on to their next piece, African Blessing.
Hi, my name is Aditi and I'm in String Sinfonietta. One of the songs that we learned during the season was African Blessing. African Blessing is a song originating from Africa. The initial words were in Swahili. The song reminds me of a group of people playing the drums and having so much fun. Even though I don't play the drums, I enjoy playing this upbeat and lively piece. Thank you so much.
One, two, ready, go.
Symphonietta, woo! Virtual round of applause for Symphonietta. Congratulations for all your hard work. Thank you, Mrs. Jones, for your wonderful direction for these amazing students. And thank you, Symphonietta, for all of your hard work. I am so blown away by your progress and just so excited for you as you continue to grow in your musical journey. The next portion of our showcase will be for YCO, Camerata, and Wind Ensemble under the direction of Dr. Goldie and Mr. Mosley. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Goldie.
All right, good afternoon, and Symphonietta, you are rock stars. That was so awesome. I'm so excited to share with you guys the work for YCO for this spring. We did a collaborative project, and it was called Storms and Triumphs. And what we really were focusing on this semester, Mr. Mosley and I, with our full orchestra, was the idea of going beyond playing a note in a rhythm, how to make artistic decisions together, how to make musical decisions, and how to explore things in music visuals and stories. And we did that with 3 pieces. And the 3 pieces were Harry Potter, which I'm sure you will recognize some of the scenes from that, a piece called Second Storm, and Elgar Serenade. And in each case, we talked about how do you make artistic decisions? What goes into that? Not just the thing of trying to decide on how we wanted a certain phrase to sound together, but how do you listen to other people play and incorporate that into your own playing? So I ask each of these students to help me make all the artistic decisions. You will hear their voices throughout and sharing with you what the music meant to them on a personal level. How did they connect their own emotion and experiences to the sounds they were hearing in the music? And then how do we communicate that to other people? So I will start with Second Storm. And this piece is by Michael W. Smith. And what happened in this piece, we know what it meant to the composer because he told us in the program notes. He told us that this piece was written after 4 amazingly horrible hurricanes hit Florida, and his home was in Florida, and it devastated him, especially the 3rd storm that was called Hurricane Ivan. I don't know if any of you remember that one, but this was the 2nd storm in his life that totally wiped out almost everything his family owned. So this piece was written in the aftermath of that storm and that devastation, but yet in it you can hear the triumph. So as the students and I explored this piece, I asked them to tell me what kinds of storms, physical or emotional, had they experienced in their lives, and how did they triumph over those physical or emotional storms. So they sent me visuals, and I'll let you hear the stories in their own voices first. So this is YCO Expansive with Second Storm. These are their visuals. And so thank you, YCO, for all the musical practice and recording that went into the sound for that, but also for supplying all the visuals for that as well. And I'm going to let you hear in their own voices what kind of physical or emotional storms this piece brought to them on a personal level. And we'll start off with our yellow team of violins.
Okay, so for an emotional storm, we sort of talked about kind of the fear of what would happen during the pandemic while we were isolated, and we talked about how we all sort of connected through music with each other through online concerts at YCO to triumph over it.
And we sort of said the same thing about how the pandemic has definitely been an emotional storm for us. It's been difficult feeling so isolated from everyone. And something that's helped is really being able to make music together. It helps us feel more connected.
Alakia, we had the orange team next.
Another triumph that we had was being able to connect with our friends through technology or FaceTiming them or texting them despite the storm that we faced from the pandemic and being isolated from our friends.
Thank you, Alakia.
Our group had two physical stories. The first one was within the past couple of years, about all of us had a story of either a tornado hitting close to or touching down at our schools, which was also a really scary thought because you could possibly die from a tornado if it's strong enough. And our second story was one of our friends, their dogs had almost a near-death experience from an ear infection, which compromised the dog's ability to walk. But our triumphs were listening to music and playing music and doing extracurricular activities and knowing everyone that was inside of our schools and our friend's dog is doing safe and they're okay.
Yeah, one of the emotional storms that we had was like during the pandemic, we missed our friends as well as performing together and making music together. And we feel triumph for having a virtual showcase to present that we have like worked hard on it this spring.
Near the beginning of quarantine, we experienced an emotional storm when in 2020, we learned that school would remain virtual for the rest of the year. I remember watching the updates every day after lunch and the distress I felt when I learned the news. However, through our amazing ability as humans to adapt to change, we triumphed over these drastic changes and adversities and adapted to the various struggles of technology and living in a pandemic.
Well, it seems as though a storm is brewing right now outside. It's good to know. For the winds and brass, we had a few physical storms. I broke my arm at age 5, and that included. So sorry, that was thunder.
That is great timing. You're really going all out for this, Aubrey. Nice job.
But yes, I broke my arm when I was 5, and that was my first hospital experience. And that was an interesting experience. As for emotional storms, there was one of us who had an experience of being the new kid at school for the 8th time. And ways we triumphed over these obstacles in our lives, we decided to say that living with love and positivity always wins, whether it's expressed through art, in this case music, or helping others or maintaining relationships with family and friends.
And you can see the I just am so grateful for the chance to work with these not only amazing musicians but just amazing human beings. They have brought me so much joy. My personal struggle with trying to get through everything that was a pandemic, one thing that helped me triumph was actually the faces you see on the screen, because they brought me so much joy every week, and they were in it 100%, and they were sharing willingly, and just putting their best foot forward. From all the times when we asked them to record pieces, to going to sectionals with Richmond Symphony players, to getting video feedback from Richmond Symphony players, to let's do all of these visuals now, they stepped up in every single way. And what really strikes me is that the human spirit and art helps us triumph over every adversity. And so this is why the theme of our portion is storm and triumph, because these young people inspire us all to let us know that we can triumph even in the worst of circumstances, and we can rejoice in the best of times. They're not all storms can we get over, but we can certainly get through them. And it may be science that might save us from all of this, but it will be art and music that definitely get us through it. And so students, you remind me of that every time I see you. So thank you for that. The second piece we're playing was actually their personal choice. There was a big craze on TikTok of sea shanties. And so I asked them, do you want to play a sea shanty, or do you want to play the Elgar Serenade First Movement, Opus 20? And they actually voted for the Elgar. So this is a strings only piece. And we have some soloists that are happening in this one, and that's Molly Nelson, Macy Hutto, Grace Lee, and Adam Aquio. So this is the Elgar. All right, bravo, YCO string musicians. That was our stretch piece. This is a piece played by many college string ensembles, and so it was our big courage building thing. So we all played the opening and we all played the end, and then we had some featured soloists in that development section in the center. And so way to go, string players in YCO, for that difficult Elgar serenade. Super proud of you guys for how you pulled that one off. And finally, Harry Potter. We enjoyed doing some scenes from Harry Potter. This is written by John Williams and arranged by Michael Story. And each part of this, I asked the students to tell me in their own words, when we listened to it, what emotions do you think or scene each part was trying to paint? And then we could put our own spin on it. So I will let them tell you what they have. There are 7 different scenes you're going to hear, and I'll let them walk you through it as far as what they think each of those scenes are representing. So we'll start with the folks who picked out the visuals or the scene for the first measure.
So for the first one, we said it had kind of like an iconic or suspenseful feel. It's the really nostalgic part of the theme. So we chose a picture of the first year students approaching Hogwarts at the beginning of the first movie, because it's like very misty and magical.
And as you go through there, you then get to about measure 35. You kind of change scenes a little bit, and I'll let Aubrey tell you about that. Hello
again. So for 35 through 49, we decided that the Great Hall would be a wonderful example. We decided that while it's still mysterious, dark, and magical, it's also charming, as the Great Hall is.
And the next scene?
For the next scene, we thought it reminded us of a Quidditch match because it was heart-racing and chaotic.
And next you'll hear?
For measures 69 through 87, we chose to pick the scene where Harry and Hermione are using the time travel, or they're time traveling, and we chose to describe it as a frenzy and playful and joyful because of how frantic the scene is.
And next?
We were assigned measures 87 through 104, and we chose a scene from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And the scene we chose for these measures is when Gryffindor wins the House Cup. And we all agreed that this moment was joyous, victorious, cheerful, and most certainly exciting.
And for the scene where Harry Potter and Hermione looks at each other very charmingly, we chose the word because they were looking at each other very charmingly in a snowy weather.
Thank you, Grace. And the finale of the ending was selected by the cellos.
As the song reaches its conclusion, Harry and his friends reach the end of their year and gain new freedoms. We found that the song's final measures inspiring, dynamic, vibrant, and providing of a sense of closure for the music. For our picture, we chose the image of Harry riding Buckbeak, the hippogriff at the end of The Prisoner of Azkaban, for we felt it was representative of the spirited ending to the music and the story.
All right, so here you go. First ever showing of our version of the highlights from Harry Potter with all of the music by the full orchestra students of the YCO Expansive Group. Way to go, YCO. Are they ready for Hollywood now or what? Nice job, students. So those were our three pieces. And the last thing that I did want to share with you was one thing I gave the students a choice of was the sea shanties that we talked about earlier. And so there were some people who really wanted to play the sea shanty. And so every week at the end of rehearsal, I say, if you want to stay around and jam on the sea shanty, stick around. And there were some people who did that. And so I would like to play a very brief encore of two people who actually, Amy Riddle and Adam McCleo, put together. They recorded the entire orchestra parts, just the two of them, all except the viola. So here's a short excerpt of a sea shanty that you can feel free to dance along with if you're so in the mood. So I'll just close by saying congratulations, YCO students. You made this year amazing. There was no pandemic or no amount of distance or space or time that could squelch your desire to make beautiful music and to do more than play the right note and the right rhythm at the right time, but to really reach in there and try to connect deeply with the emotion of the music, with the personal meaning and personal connection to the music, and then have that come across the screen and the audio to touch the people in this Zoom right now. So I hope we see every single one of you next fall. Thank you for an amazing year.
Thank you so much. And one more big thank you to Dr. Goldie and Mr. Mosley. Round of applause for them for being not just amazing music educators, but also mentors to our students who really look up to you. And it's a bright light in their week to see you every Tuesday. So thank you very much. And thank you to all of our YCO, Camerata, and Wind Ensemble students for not just your hard work, but for sharing your stories. It takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable with one another, but that's one of the best things about music is that when we share, we can connect with one another and we see that we're not so different after all. So thank you so much for sharing your stories and your talent and your music and for taking on those challenges because it makes us better musicians and better people. So thank you very, very much. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one more time. And I'm going to go back to our slideshow. Next up, we have Rizzo, the Richmond Symphony Youth Orchestra, under the direction of Maestro Danielle Missick. Maestro Missick, would you like to say a few words about this year, this program? Take it away.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. It's been a heck of a ride, true? But we did it. And I'm impressed by the work of our students who thought it was important to stay musically active during these times of pandemic. I want to salute the work of our wonderful staff, in particular Ms. Tobin and Jonathan Sanford, not to forget this very significant contribution of Sam Huss, who's principal trumpet with the Symphony, and also our sound engineer for this whole project. So kudos to him for reaching the finish line. As a matter of fact, late afternoon today. It was crazy, like really. So, and really kudos to the team. I also would like to celebrate the accomplishments of my colleagues and their respective ensembles. And Dr. Goldie, you're so close to my heart. I think you know that, and I want to extend special thanks to you for your message of hope. And it seems like you always find the right words in moments like these. So thank you. And it's fun to have Melissa Jones now part of the family. Congratulations to everybody and their beautiful work and dedication throughout the semester. Now, Rizzo, it was just, as I said, quite a ride, but we did it. Our main theme this semester was Russian ballet, as we focused on brief movements from 3 different ballets one by Tchaikovsky, the other was by Prokofiev, and the last excerpt came from a ballet by Stravinsky. And these movements will be introduced to you by a few of our students in just a few seconds. And you'll see they're each very different in style. And obviously there's a reason for that, right? Because they each try to describe very specific moments in the story. And all those stories obviously are very different from each other. So without further ado, Jen, if you don't mind, I'd like to pass it on to our fantastic students who've prepared a word for all of you guys.
Absolutely. All right, so the first selection from Rizzo is Swan Lake. Chloe, if you would like to introduce Swan Lake for us, please take it away.
Yes. Hello, I'm Chloe Biggs. I'm a second violinist for Rizzo. And the piece you're about to hear is Moderato from Swan Lake Suite, Opus 20, Number 1, by Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky. This story is written about the love between Prince Siegfried and Princess Odette, who has been transformed into a swan by an evil sorcerer. In the specific scene where this piece is played, Siegfried, who was hunting in the woods and became separated from his friends, stumbles upon a moonlit lake where he finds a flock of swans. He's about to take a shot at one of them with his crossbow when it transforms into a maiden, Odette. As the scene plays out, the two meet for the first time and Odette tells Siegfried about her curse. Please enjoy.
Thank you, Chloe. All right, so I'm going to share Swan Lake. Bear with me with technology and the rain. I think YCO brought us that storm. Very, very perfect for our weather right now. Okay.
We will add storm conjurers to our many talents in YCO.
Can you hear the audio? Thumbs up if you can hear the audio. No? Okay. Let's try this. Beautiful phrasing, Rizzo. That was really, really beautiful. You can see the storm behind you too. Perfect mood music too. All right, so next we have on our Rizzo playlist, Romeo and Juliet, which is going to be introduced by Sarah. Sarah, you can take it away.
Our next piece is Montagues and Capulets from the second suite of the ballet Romeo and Juliet by Russian composer Sergei Prokofiev. Prokofiev was born in 1891 in Ukraine. His mother was an excellent pianist herself, so she taught him to play the piano and recognized his musical talent at a young age. As a boy, he studied with composer Reinhold Glier, and in 1904 entered the St. Petersburg Conservatory, where he spent 10 years. Prokofiev left Russia in 1918 due to turmoil caused by World War I and the Russian Revolution. He then spent years living abroad in Paris and the United States. He finished his ballet Romeo and Juliet in 1935, but several ballet companies refused to perform it. It finally premiered 3 years later in Brno, Czechoslovakia. Also known as Dance of the Knights, Montagues and Capulets accompanies the star-crossed lovers' first meeting at a masked ball hosted by Juliet's family, the Capulets. In the first section, the mood is ominous, even intimidating, as the Capulets dance with broad, dignified gestures. The next section of the piece is quiet and ethereal, with a playful oboe solo, as Juliet dances with Count Paris, a wealthy man who wants to marry her. The first section returns and creates a foreboding mood for the moment when Juliet first sees Romeo. The piece concludes with a tragic chord, as though the music knows that Romeo and Juliet's fate is sealed. Now, presenting Prokofiev's Montagues and Capulets, performed by the Richmond Symphony Youth Orchestra.
Beautiful introduction, Sarah. Thank you. So eloquent. All right, here we go. Bravo! I think you really captured those moods that Sarah was talking about really well. And it's not easy to do with a conductor, but never mind being on your own and trying to do that. It's really such an accomplishment. So bravo, Rizzo. While I queue up the next piece, I would like to invite Jacob to introduce Petrushka.
Hi, guys. So for our last piece, we present one of the most celebrated ballets of all time. Petrochka, written by the Russian composer Igor Stravinsky, is a dazzling, complex, joyful, and most of all, ambiguous ride. Written in 1911 for Sergei Diaghilev's Ballets Russ's company, it was but one of 3 ballets that elevated Stravinsky to international fame in the musical scene. Petrochka, alongside The Firebird and The Rite of Spring, broke the boundaries of how music could be designed, organized, played, and implemented into ballet. In this particular song in the 4th tableau of Petrochka, called The Dance of the Coachman and the Grooms, invites a fun, carnival setting where a group of nurses, gypsies, grooms, and masqueraders dance with and around each other, causing both a sensation of chaos alongside an underlying stability of coordination. Through this, Stravinsky was able to intertwine the complexities of undying love with the complications of unforgiving jealousy. I hope you enjoy listening to this piece as much as I enjoyed playing it, and please enjoy.
Thank you, Jacob. All right, here we go. Wonderful job, Rizzo. I didn't learn Stravinsky till I got to college, so I am just astounded by what you were able to accomplish this semester, so bravo. We're going to go back to my slideshow. Okay, So at this time, I would like to acknowledge all of the seniors who are with us as you begin to think about your future college plans and your next chapter, which is super exciting. Whether you've been in the youth orchestra program for 1 year or for many years, we really want to take a moment to honor all of your hard work and to thank you for all of your contributions to your ensembles and to the program. So thank you so much. You can see some of the words that some of the seniors have said about their experience in our youth orchestra program. It's just been a pleasure for me to get to know you and to hear your stories and your favorite memories of all of the things that you've done in YOP. So congratulations to you for all of your accomplishments and your hard work. Best of luck in your new endeavors, and please keep in touch with us. Just a couple of things coming up so that you are aware. The first thing coming up is the Trees of Hope event through Beacon Tree. Beacon Tree is a local nonprofit that aims to bring awareness to children's mental health. And they had asked if Rizzo would be willing to contribute one of their recordings for their annual Trees of Hope event, which is their biggest fundraiser each year. So the Rizzo recording of the Coriolan Overture, which also appeared in our gala event, will also be appearing in Beacon Tree's 9th annual Trees of Hope. And we encourage you to attend and support Beacon Tree. The information is here, and I will be happy to share that with you in email as well. It will be virtual via Facebook Live on their Facebook page. And again, I'm happy to share that information with you. The next thing coming up is our collaboration with the Menuhin competition. And we had a whole presentation about the Menuhin competition for our youth orchestra students. I believe it was last week. And the Menuhin competition is an international competition, and we're really fortunate to be hosting the Menuhin competition here in Richmond. And we also have a couple events in collaboration with Menuhin. The first is VCU's Virtual Violin Day, and Dr. Goldie has really been instrumental in getting that together. So all of that information was in an email that was already sent to you, but I'm happy to resend it if you have any questions. You are free to participate if you would like to. There's a lot of things that you can sign up for, so we really encourage you to attend that. That's on Saturday, May 8th, so it's coming up soon. And then next week, we also have a special Menuhin event exclusively for our YOP members. We have 2 members of the Menuhin competition who will be both performing for us and doing a virtual Q&A. The first is Karina Deng. She's 13 years old and she's from Canada, and she's a finalist in the junior division. And we also have Carissa Chu, who is a finalist in the senior division, and they will both be performing for us next week and answering questions. So we really encourage you to attend. I'll have all of that information in an email for you. It's an extra special event this coming Tuesday at the same time as Youth Orchestra. So if you can attend, we would encourage you to stop in and to hear them play. They're amazing. I once heard a Richmond Symphony youth orchestra member say that Menuhin is like the Olympics of violin. So really incredible talent, and we could really learn a lot from these competitors. At this time, I would like to thank everybody for all of your hard work and for your support. Let me see if I can remember everybody. First, to our amazing conductors, Mrs. Jones, Mr. Mosley, Dr. Goldie, Maestro Missick. You are all just such consummate music educators, and we are really, really fortunate to have you with us in our youth orchestra program, and it would just not be the same without you. So thank you all for the personal touches that you make, from the email correspondences to students to the encouragement that you give every week. Thank you so much for being just such wonderful mentors to our students. Thank you to all of our Richmond Symphony coaches for working with all of our students and providing really wonderful feedback. It's such a unique aspect of our youth orchestra program to have that that correspondence and that collaboration with our coaches. So thank you so much for that. Thank you to all of our students for all of your hard work, for answering all of my emails when I'm looking for your recordings, and for letting me get to know you as people and the talented musicians that you are. And thank you to all of the family members for supporting your students, and friends for encouraging your students to practice and to show up every Tuesday on the screen. We know it's not easy to feel connected when we're apart, but I think it's really a testament to such a wonderful program that we are able to do this every week and come together in collaboration and joint cause and a joint passion for music. So thank you for that. And an extra special thank you to our donors for making this possible, especially to Hamilton Beach for your continued support of all of our educational endeavors, especially our youth orchestra program. Just so many thanks, and especially to my fellow staff members. We've got Walter Bittner, the Director of Education, Marcy Leonard, Jonathan Sanford, Amy Pintea, Mimi and Juhei, our interns. It's a really collaborative team effort. To Sam Huss, our sound engineer. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes in order to make this happen, and I just feel incredibly fortunate to be part of such a team effort. So thank you everybody for all of your involvement. And at this time, I would like to mention that we have our fall auditions coming up. And I just want to note that we have changed the auditions to be later to give students more time to practice and to look at the excerpts. We know that some of this music can be a bit challenging, and we also know this can be a stressful time of year with school ending. So we just wanted to make sure that everybody has some adequate time to prepare. So the auditions will now be on Tuesday, June 15th and Tuesday, June 22nd. Those are both Tuesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. And I am more than happy to be sending that information in emails. I will be as transparent and communicative as possible. We are hoping to have an in-person fall, but we are keeping a very close eye on current health directives to make sure that everybody feels safe and healthy so that that can happen. So that is our hope, but we will continue to monitor it. And again, I will be as communicative and transparent as possible. And to that note, I just want to play a short video that sort of encompasses all that we're able to do in our youth orchestra program, and to encourage each and every one of you to come back in the fall so I can see you in person finally, which I really can't wait to do.
The youth orchestra program here at the Richmond Symphony gives students one-of-a-kind experience.
For any stage of your musical journey, there is an ensemble for you. If you are just starting out, you don't have to audition. You can just be right in Sinfonietta. Or if you are a high school student who's really serious about music, audition. We want you in Rizzo, and you will get to learn some of the most amazing repertoire.
There is no other opportunity here in Richmond for students to play this music.
The goal of our program in general is to offer an experience to the student that will bring them to the next level.
We'll take a small portion of the whole and we'll polish that part until it shines like a diamond. And then we'll take a minute to stop and admire what it was. If we polish enough diamonds, the whole thing will sparkle.
There's always that goal of reaching for first chair or like sitting in the first violin section. That just like puts me like, let's try a little harder.
We have 5 ensembles. Beginning ensemble is Sinfonietta, so that's sort of intended to be a student's first experience at orchestral setting. Camerata Strings, which is by audition. The Youth Concert Orchestra, or YCO. It's our intermediate full ensemble. Wind ensemble, which is just for wind players. And then we've got Rizzo, the Richmond Symphony Youth Orchestra, which is our most advanced full ensemble.
Well, it was a little intimidating being in Rizzo at first because the music is challenging, but it was nice because everyone else in the section was really helpful, and then my teacher was also helping me learn all of the repertoire.
It is at a point that we start and we barely can recognize the piece, and we go through the cycle. 13 weeks later, we present in this beautiful concert hall, and the piece speaks for itself. It's good presentation and a good representation of what they can accomplish you cannot simply imagine or conceive the growth that is going to happen throughout this whole cycle.
As a parent, I see her reaching and stretching and growing, but most importantly, I think she's having a lot more fun with her playing.
You feel so proud of the work that you've done that you really want to like show it off and like play music for other people.
It's really nice because you get to audition in front of the conductor and someone else that's normally pretty familiar, so it's a good audition. Most other auditions are blind auditions, and I think it's a good experience to be able to audition like right in front of the judges and get to see them and talk to them.
You can think of each person who's been through our program as a thread in the fabric of our community, and those threads are of every color and shape and size. That legacy lives on.
It's just an amazing opportunity for me to be able to provide that for my kid.
Music doesn't care about your age, race, creed. It doesn't discriminate, and it doesn't matter when you join, and it welcomes you at whatever place that you're at.
If you love music and are driven to pursue it, we want you to study with us.
So again, you can disregard the dates that were in the video, and the true audition dates, which I will send via email as well, are going to be June 15th and June 22nd. And before we close, just a personal note, I feel so very fortunate to be part of your community. This really is a family, and I just want to say thank you to everybody for making me feel so welcome. Since joining just 6 months ago, I feel just so fortunate to learn a little bit more about each and every one of you, and we've really got something special in Richmond, and I just feel so fortunate to be a part of it. So thank you all so much for coming. And before we go, I know Walter Bittner, the Director of Education, just wanted to say a few words as well.
So I just would like to note that it really took a lot of cooperation and positive effort from a lot of people for us to sustain our youth orchestra program through the global pandemic over the last year. This is a very remarkable accomplishment. Very few programs like this have had this kind of success across the country. So we are very fortunate, and it took all of us, students, parents, the staff and the board and the musicians of the Richmond Symphony, our donors, our conductors who have really been through us every step of the way and shown so much leadership and creativity. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, all of you. And this is my chance to ask you all to join me in applauding Jennifer Tobin, our youth orchestra manager, for all the hard work she has done this season. Brava. We are so proud of all of you, and we cannot wait to come back in the fall.
Thank you. And thank you all so much for coming. I know we ran over just a little bit, but I'm glad you're still here with us. We look forward to seeing you all in the fall. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday for our special menu and event. We look forward to seeing you at Violin Day, all of the things. I can't wait to finally meet you in person, hopefully someday soon, and wishing you all the best as you finish your school year, and all of you and your family good health and safety. Thank you all so much for coming. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.